Welcome back, everyone, to today's Explainer. All right, let's dive right in, because today we are exploring a really fascinating duality. We're going to look at the staggering, honestly almost incomprehensible scale of one of the most unique buildings on the planet, and then we're going to zoom all the way into one of the most claustrophobic, human-scale emergencies you can possibly experience inside it. We're talking about the macro behemoth of 55 Water Street in New York City and the micro-emergency of being trapped in one of its elevators.
Now, to really grasp the scale we're dealing with here, you just need to think about this massive number, 3.5 million. That is the total square footage of 55 Water Street. When it was completed back in 1972, this staggering figure made it the world's largest privately owned office building. I mean, to put that into perspective, the only buildings with more office space at the time were massive government complexes like the Pentagon. It's an absolute beast of a structure. Designed by Emery Roth & Sons and developed by the Uris brothers, it occupies an entire 4-block superblock in Lower Manhattan, reaching 53 stories high.
Section 1. The Manhattan Megastructure.
So to hold up a megastructure of this size requires a totally unique foundation. Unlike standard Manhattan skyscrapers that just sink their foundations directly into the solid bedrock, 55 Water Street sits entirely on reclaimed land that actually used to be part of the East River. To pull this off, engineers had to sink a corrugated sheet metal retaining wall 40 feet deep and scoop out the entire site. Then they poured a massive concrete cofferdam. And this unique, giant bathtub-like foundation didn't just hold the 687-foot giant up. It created cavernous underground spaces for parking, for mechanicals, and even a 25,000-square-foot bank vault. And above ground, the mechanical muscle required to run this mini-city is just as mind-blowing. The building features 3.5 million square feet of modular galvanized steel flooring. Its cooling system relies on these massive 53-ton chillers. Now, these things were so incredibly heavy that they couldn't even be brought up through the building. They literally had to be hoisted by cranes straight into the facade at night when traffic was light. And just to keep the lights on during an outage, the building is equipped with 14 massive emergency generators up on the roof, which are designed to provide power for up to 3 whole days.
Section 2. A history of boom and bust.
Because, a building this big doesn't just weather physical storms, it weathers economic ones too. The timeline of 55 Water Street is a pretty perfect mirror of New York's own boom and bust cycles. Back in 1969, before it was even finished, the developers signed a $250 million lease with Chemical Bank. At the time, that was the largest commercial lease ever executed. But fast forward to the early 90s, and the building's owners were just crushed by a massive debt load and asbestos removal costs, which led to a Chapter 11 bankruptcy in 1993. The building was ultimately transferred to its bondholders and the retirement systems of Alabama. But perhaps the most dramatic event hit in 2012. Hurricane Sandy sent a devastating 14-foot storm surge right into Lower Manhattan. Remember those 14 emergency roof generators we just talked about? Well, they were powered by fuel pumps located in the basement. When the basement flooded, the pumps died, the generators failed, and the ultimate megastructure went completely dark.
Which brings us to this number, 71. That is the sheer volume of passenger elevators required to move tens of thousands of people through this vertical city every single day. The 60 elevators in the main tower alone are divided into 10 separate banks just to manage the flow of all those people.
So I really want you to picture this. You're inside one of those 71 metal boxes, completely suspended inside this 3.5 million square foot behemoth. And suddenly, the power grid fails. A storm surge like Sandy knocks out the basement pumps, the roof generators go quiet, and everything goes pitch black. The macro structure has failed. You are now instantly thrust into a highly psychological, intensely personal micro-emergency. What do?
Section 3. Navigating a micro-emergency.
Okay, according to university preparedness experts, like those at the University of Illinois Chicago, the crucial point right off the bat is to erase the Hollywood myths that are probably flashing through your mind right now. First off, the car is not going to free fall to the basement. Second, the elevator shaft is not some hermetically sealed vacuum. You are absolutely not going to run out of oxygen. And third, even in a total building blackout, dedicated emergency lights are designed to activate for your safety and your peace of mind. And the exact reason you won't free fall comes down to mechanical safety brakes. You see, elevators are built entirely around the concept of fail-safes. These mechanical brakes don't even rely on electricity. They're governed by physical mechanics and gravity. If the tension changes or power is completely lost, these brakes inherently deploy. They operate in all situations, meaning the laws of physics are actively protecting you even when the electricity dies. But, survival and safety actually start before you ever step foot inside. According to the Preparedness guidelines, you really have to practice proactive safety. Step 1. Always keep your mobile phone charged. It is literally your lifeline to the outside world. Step 2. Patience. Avoid rushing into an elevator with closing doors or cramming yourself into a fully packed car. Just wait for the next one. And step 3, which is an absolute golden rule, never ever use an elevator during a fire unless explicitly instructed to do so by the fire department.
Now, if the worst happens and you are trapped, here are your immediate actions. Step 1, press the emergency call button in the elevator. If it's dead, use your charged phone to call campus police or 911. Step 2, you need to provide highly specific information. Don't just say, "I'm trapped." Give your name, the building address, the specific car number, which is actually posted inside every single elevator, and what floor you think you're stuck near. Step 3, once you make contact, get off your phone. Conserve your battery. Do not waste your precious battery life posting selfies to social media or texting group chats. Just wait for the dispatcher's instructions.
When you're trapped, human psychology kicks in, specifically the urge to panic and take matters into your own hands. The protocol is very, very strict on what you must avoid doing here. Do not use a lighter or an open flame. You definitely don't want to consume oxygen or risk a fire in an enclosed space. Do not try to pry the doors open yourself. And most importantly, despite every single action movie you have ever seen, do not try to climb out through the roof escape hatch unless you are in an immediate life-threatening situation. Waiting for trained rescue personnel is statistically vastly safer than attempting some blind escape into a dark elevator shaft.
Once the trained personnel do pry those doors open and get you out, the protocol isn't entirely over. The aftermath requires a little action too. First, be prepared to answer questions from the emergency responders about any injuries or hazards you might have noticed. Second, ensure facility management is notified so the car is officially taken out of service and repaired. And third, and I think this is a wonderfully modern and vital addition to these protocols, consider talking about your experience with a professional. Being trapped in a dark box is traumatic, and seeking out employee assistance programs or campus counseling resources to process that stress is a highly recommended part of the recovery process.
So we've gone from the sprawling 3.5 million square feet of a concrete and steel titan on the East River all the way down to the few square feet of a powerless elevator cap. Both require immense engineering, but only the latter requires your active composure. Next time you step into a metal box inside a megastructure, will you just see the awe-inspiring engineering that holds it all up? Or will you remember your own preparedness? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Stay curious, stay prepared, and I will see you next time.